What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we are diving into the Fantasy Cup Ultra League Edition, which is only allowing Steel, Fairy, and Dragon type Pokemon, and the team that I'm gonna have today is Melmetal, Flygon, and Giratina Altered on the safe swap. Melmetal with double Iron Bash was a ton of fun. It's very spammy and has good coverage on the meta. The Giratina Altered is a nice safe swap, right, for drawing out those fairies or those hard counters to a potential Flygon, and then Flygon sweeps. It's so much fun to use. Alright, getting into the first battle here, we have Melmetal on the lead versus Empoleon. So Empoleon is kind of like, it's a decent matchup, but in order to win, we have to land a superpower. Now, they do a great swap trying to catch the superpower there on the Giratina Altered. So what I'm going to do here is just going to go ahead and go for double Iron Bashes to kind of chip down the health of the opponent's Giratina Altered while making sure my Melmetal has excess energy. This is very important for you guys to do if you decide to run a Melmetal, especially with this legacy move, is you want to have energy as often as you can when you come back into fights if it's feasible. Now that we got the Giratina Altered to 50% HP, we're going to go ahead and come into the mirror match. Giratina Altered on their team might be the hardest counter to a Flygon, and even then, they're both going to be doing super effective damage to each other, right? But in this case, we are pretty far ahead on health, so we should be able to take this one right here. We'll have to see. It's going to be very close, as two charge moves did about 50% HP. So now we do get a shield right there, which is actually pretty good for us because we do see them swap into Empoleon. And I was hoping I could get to a Shadow Force and maybe they try to commit to the farm down. But I'm going to go ahead and let this go through. It is going to be Hydro Cannon. And now my Melmetal comes back in and I have tons of energy. This allows me to go for the double superpower right here. They could potentially shield, so we'll have to see. They decide to let it go, so now I swap into Flygon to get ahead on energy. I am able to farm down, but we'll have to see if I give it a shield. I'm going to decide to let it go. Hydro Cannon does a lot of neutral damage, but I have a feeling that the Giratina Altered and whatever's in the back, I might want to have shields for Melmetal potentially. So we're going to go ahead and go for the Dragon Claw. They decide to shield, which is great for us. That means I can shield myself and then get to another Dragon Claw in time. And then we just have to see what that final Pokemon is. Let's see if we can get to another Dragon Claw. We do. They make a beautiful swap and they go into Escavalier. So that was a good catch on them to catch the resisted charge move. But now I think I should be able to get to an Earth Power in time, which I do, and this is a lot of neutral damage. It should basically almost be enough to KO. And yeah, basically enough for me to go for a double Iron Bash right here, right when I come in order to take out the Escavalier. We did get the defense drop right there as well. And now the Giratina Altered coming back in is going to face off against a double Iron Bash once again from Melmetal. So close game right there. Again, energy is the name of the game, and being able to dance it is going to be your key to victory. So good battle, very well played. Moving to the next one, we got Melmetal versus Clefable. So very positive lead for me. We do see them swap into an Excadrill, so I'm going to go ahead and come in with the Flygon right away. The cool thing about Flygon in this matchup is it can survive one Drill Run. It's not enough to KO, but the opponent cannot survive one Earth Power. So we should be able to take this, and if we don't, then we can come in with Giratina Altered and really load up on energy, right? So we go for the Earth Power. We get the shield right there. I mean, that would have been a good time to shield bait, but sometimes players just sacrifice that first steal and then come in and load up on energy with their fairy. So I decided to just throw it right away in case they did decide to no shield. And now this is going to guarantee to get the 2 shield, but they decided to let it go. Boom! And then we will see Clefable come in and look to farm down. This is honestly a good position for them, but instead they come in with Alolan Sandslash, and this allows me to get to one more Earth Power, forcing the final shield of this game. I definitely thought that Clefable was going to be coming back in, but we get the final shield. We get the defense drop as well, and now I need to come in with Giratina Altered. This is kind of counterintuitive, right? But Giratina Altered doesn't have a good matchup with this core, right? Alolan Sandslash and the Clefable. So it is going to be better to have my Giratina Altered face off against the Alolan Sandslash and drain its energy, and then let my Melmetal sweep this game. So we're going to go ahead and let the Ice Punches go through. I decided to go for Dragon Claw here. Ultimately, it's just going to do like no damage. I need to get into my Melmetal right now, so I go ahead and swap out right away. They do bring in the Clefable, and this is going to be a good game. We do have access to double Iron Bash, and this is really nice in this Ultra League Cup. because it does do super effective damage to fairies. It's a great bait move, pairing it with superpower, because it's a bit lower energy, and it's just so spammy, right? I can get like 6, 7, 8 charge moves off if you just go straight for it before Pokemon can take you down in some like shielding situations, right? So now we see them. We're going to go ahead and overload on energy, making sure we have a charge move ready to go on the back end of this, as we can safely let the Moonblast go through, because one superpower should be enough right here. One charge move basically should be enough. So we're going to go ahead and go for double Iron Bash now to take out the Clefable, and then the Sand Slash coming back in is going to go down to superpower, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Again, dancing our energy correctly, making sure we had enough so that we could go back to back without getting hit with any damage from our opponent. Good game. All right, we got Melmetal versus Solgaleo. Such a cool Pokemon. I got to swap out right away into Giratina Alter. This is a really good matchup for us, and they're deciding to stay in. So this is a tell that they could be core broken, and it's something you got to be on the lookout for with the opponent's teams, as they decide now to swap into Giratina Origin. So they were core broken to an extent where my Giratina does super effective damage to 2 out of 3 of their Pokemon so far, and I'm so far ahead on energy in this matchup that I could potentially flip it if I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the shield here. It is just going to be an Ominous Wind, but any chip damage from a Giratina Origin is going to be a lot paired with those Shadow Claws, right? So we want to keep ourselves healthy. We get a shield ourselves from them. We're going to be able to get to a 3rd Dragon Claw in time. And now this is looking very good for us to sweep, because if we can get all the shields out of this game, which we do, our Flygon now, especially against the Solgaleo, is going to be able to boom a lot. But we decide to shield the Ominous Wind right here because I did have the Dragon Claw ready to go, and I thought it's better to guarantee take switch, making sure we have proper alignment, than it is to go 1-0. We do see a Tapu Fini come in, so I might just be able to get to the Shadow Force, but I don't think I'm going to get there. So I pull the trigger on Dragon Claw instead. That's something you always want to do, right? If you have an opportunity to go for that heavy neutral damage, try to get to it, but if you can't, get that chip damage so that it's guaranteed. We're going to come in with Melmetal right here, and they do swap into the Solgaleo, so we're going to come in with the Flygon, and that is basically going to be a good game. They just don't have enough damage left on their team or any shields in order to take me down, so I can easily overload on energy. We're heavily resisting the fire fast move right there. I believe it is fire spin. Just from the animation, it's been a long time since I saw it. So we have the Tapu Fini now come in, and this is going to be a good game, right? We still have Melmetal, Thundershock, double Iron Bash, and some good bulk. We get the Earth Power as well, which is really nice. So the spam here from Flygon, as you guys have seen in these first couple games, is incredible with a Flygon, especially with no like wall reigns in the meta, right? Because it's only Steel, Fairy, and Dragon type Pokemon that are allowed. So we go for double Iron Bash here, and that's going to be a good game, very well played. Again, having energy ready to go every single time you come in with Melmetal if you can. Alright, we got Dragonite, Shadow Dragonite on the lead. So this is going to be a tough one because it has access to Dragon Claw and Superpower. So what I'm hoping to do is catch them throwing a Superpower. That is my goal, and it's a dangerous risk right here. As I go for double Iron Bash, we get a shield. I'm going to go ahead and load up on energy and try to catch on Giratina Altered, but I don't. And now I'm in trouble. This is a bad situation, and you basically have to just accept your fate, because what would happen if I shield here is they just farm me down, and now they can go for double Superpower against me on the back end. Where in this case, I have to just sacrifice my Giratina Altered, saying I messed up there, and see if I can come back with Melmetal and start going for double Iron Bashes to delay that switch clock so that I can potentially get into Flygon here soon if I face off against a hard counter like an S-Cavalier. So I'm going to go ahead and go for double Iron Bash, hoping that they think it might be a superpower, and then see if I can get into this Flygon. They decide to no shield, so now I go for the superpower so that I guarantee to get this chip damage, and also I can clear my debuff. If you guys didn't know that, when you use a charge move or get hit, any kind of we got 2-to-1 shields right now too. Any kind of move that lowers your stats or increases your stats, whether it's positive, negative from an opponent or from yourself, you can clear it if you swap your Pokemon out of battle. I've said this a lot in previous shoutcasts that you guys have seen, But there's always someone new coming in here to watch these battles. So maybe they got really interested in this cup, so I just wanted to explain that. So we have a lot of energy now on Flygon, which is always, this is what I love. I love energy-based teams. Flygon here with Dragon Claw is going to be able to take out the Dragonite, and their final Pokemon is going to be a Tapu Fini. So we should be able to get to 2 Earth Powers, plus we have our Melmetal, which is out of energy, but it's very close. So we're going to go ahead and go for another Earth Power right here. And my hope is obviously just to get shield pressure on them, but it lands. Both charge moves land, and I thought they didn't shield. Maybe they feared the charge move on Melmetal, and they thought I was going to shield bait, but ultimately I can farm down now, and that is going to be a good game. So had they shielded that second Earth Power, I think I would have lost, actually, looking at that. But sometimes that happens, you got to take advantage of it. Alright, we got Scissor now on the lead, and we are resisting the fast move, which is really nice. We're going to go ahead and fake the potential, like, Rock Slide superpower right here. I think I did enough energy, but they decide to no shield, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and just basically let this go. I don't need to be shielding Night Slash anytime soon. Does a good amount of chip damage, but ultimately not enough to make us fear anything. And now, since I have a lot of energy, I'm going to look to come in with Guillotine Altered after they dump their charge moves right here. After I go for this superpower, my hope is that this obviously goes through, but if it gets a shield, if it doesn't, we'll see. They decide to let it go, so now I swap through because they can't get to a charge move in time, and now I'm in the mirror against them with energy advantage. Now, most teams, when you see that Steel on the lead, people love to run the ABB combination, right? In this case, for me, I have Steel Double Dragon, right? They might have Steel Double Dragon. If I get ahead, since they were so low, the Night Slash couldn't come through from the Scissor because it doesn't have enough energy. It would get Shadow Claw down. It then forces them to come in with one of their dragons, which in this case allows me to have a positive matchup because I'm ahead on energy in the mirror match with even shields. So we go ahead and let these Dragon Claws go through. We're going to look to go for another one, trying to force that final shield. And then we might unleash the Flygon. We'll have to see how they decide to play this. They do decide to shield, okay. We're going to go ahead and swap actually into Melmetal. I saw my switch clock come back up. And you got to look for those kind of pivot opportunities because my Guillotine Altered with that energy might be very useful later on. So we're going to go ahead and go for Double Iron Bash, but they make a beautiful swap back into their Scizor here to catch the charge move, which is a good catch on them, but I still have a good amount of energy, so I'm not too concerned. As they now come in with Guillotine Altered, we can go ahead and go for another Double Iron Bash. Now, they could have a Charmer in the back, and it might be all over, but they don't. They have a Registeel, and because Registeel's lock-on fast move is not that strong, right? It does nothing. It does 1 damage. We can easily go for the superpower here, and then we have a shield still. We have Flygon. We have our Guillotine Altered, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. So they did not, in fact, have a ABB line, but they did have a Registeel in the back, so we can safely shield and then go for Earth Power. There's no more Pokemon on their team, so I don't have to worry about that sack swap catch. They've already done that on the Scizor, and Earth Power will take it. Boom! Down goes the Registeel. So good battle right there. Alright, moving into the next one. This team was a lot of fun. I know most of these Pokemon, you might have some of them. Guillotine Altered, if you guys have been playing Ultra, you guys probably have that. Alright, we got Shadow Alolan Sandslash. This is a dangerous one to play against. Just being completely honest, it could go a lot of different ways, right? They could shield bait with Ice Punch. They have coverage for my whole team with Ice Punch and Drill Run. It is Shadow. But I did get a shield right there with Double Iron Bash, which I love on a Melmetal for this meta because of that specific opportunity. And now I can safely go for a superpower to get shield number 2. Let's see if we get it. No. Boom! One-shots! See ya. Tapu Fini comes in. And now we're going to go ahead and clear our debuff, come in with Guillotine Altered. And you might be thinking this is kind of counterintuitive, right? We're coming into a losing matchup, but we got to read what's on the field. We've seen an Alolan Sandslash on the lead. We saw a Tapu Fini come in, and my thought was there might be another fairy in the back or another dragon, in which case we want Melmetal to kind of stay alive, and sure enough, there was another dragon, and since we're ahead on energy, we're able to do super effective damage right here to my opponent and get their final shield, so this is looking to be a good game, as my Flygon right here can get to a Dragon Claw very, very quickly with Mud Shot. So we can safely no shield right here. Shadow Ball isn't enough to KO. Don't have to worry about that neutral damage. What we need to worry about is making sure we have an advantage with the Melmetal versus Tapu Fini in the back, which is going to come down to this shield advantage with energy, right? And again, like I've said from the very beginning, you always want to make sure you have energy on your Melmetal if you can when you come into these fights, because it's just so crucial. Nothing feels worse than having a Melmetal trying to win a game for you and you have zero energy from the start, right? In this case, I just threw charge moves and we're kind of rolling. But when you're behind and you're really behind on energy, it's a bad place to be. So always try to get those extra fast moves in if you can. We're able to take this one right here, so that is going to be a good battle, very well played to my opponent. All right. That might have been the last one. No, we got one more. Moving to the last one, we got Melmetal versus Sandslash once again. Dangerous mind games, dangerous Pokemon to be facing off against. This time it is not Shadow. So Superpower, I think still might just KO, but it's going to be close. I haven't simmed it, honestly. We do see an Escavalier come in, so we're going to go ahead and load up on energy and now swap into Giratina Altered. Again, that matchup, like you saw, we need our Melmetal with lots of energy. Yes, I took quite a bit of damage from counter, but ultimately I have a lot of energy on Melmetal versus the Sandslash, which is already shielded. So we're going to go ahead and look to no shield the Drill Run and then go for the Shadow Force here. You guys don't need Shadow Force. You can get away with Shadow Sneak. That's perfectly fine, but I love the shiny Shadow Force. Boom! One shots. A lot of people don't expect it, but the Sandslash now is going to be coming in, and they decide to throw energy, and I think that's a slight mistake on my opponent, and this is a good opportunity to learn, is in that situation, if you're my opponent right there, notice that I went for Shadow Force. It's likely that I have Dragon Claw paired as well, so Shadow Force takes a lot of fast moves to get to, so since I just threw it, it would have been easier for them to just fully farm me down instead of throwing a charge move. And they also don't have Drill Run. And they have a Magnezone in the back. This is like the nail in the coffin for them. Is Flygon just... I mean, Ground Dragon versus Electric Steel. I mean, come on. This is going to be a good game, Flygon. We're just going to go ahead and overload on energy. But no ill will to my opponent right there, but it's just something to note. If you see someone do that super high energy move like a Shadow Force and you can safely farm down because their fast moves aren't doing that much, and the Dragon Claw isn't going to do anything, you're part Steel type, commit to that hard farm down if you're my opponent, because then you'll be able to have a lot of energy on the back end, and obviously Drill Run would have helped out there for my opponent. And in this meta, Sandslash with Drill Run is going to be very beneficial for you, even though it doesn't do super effective damage against fairies. It does super effective damage against steels, which you're likely going to see, guaranteed to probably see one if not two on some teams. So that's going to be a good game, very well played. This team popped off for me in my couple sets that I did. Really happy with its performance and overall pretty strong. I think the highlight here was basically the Melmetal and all the work it can put in. You guys can synergize that onto a lot of different teams if you want to. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.